We're going to do a comparison of the previous Moodle install to the new version so you can start to understand where things are located on the new version when you are expecting it from the previous. So we're going to start with the dashboard page for both of these. And so this is our previous, and over here is the new Moodle dashboard page, which does look significantly different. So on the new Moodle page, there is a new section that says recently accessed courses. So this is a quick start, and this is going to come in really handy as you are working in courses continually. So you'll be able to have quick buttons here. And then at the bottom here, you'll be able to have any number of different courses. You can look at ones that are in progress, some that are coming up maybe next semester in the future. In the past, you can look at just academic courses, so any courses you're actually teaching, or any administrative groups that you're in. And so I could click on just the administrative groups and it would show me just those. So I'm able to look a little bit differently than the previous. So on this, administrative groups was always on the top, and then all of the academic courses going by semester. In this case, I'm going to be going into the same course essentially on the new version and the old version. On mine, this one is Training Course Sandbox 2. And this is the same one here. As you can see on this one, has a little bit of a picture, and you are able to adjust that. So I will show you how to make those adjustments a little bit later. But this is a quick way that you can have an identifying image. Otherwise, Moodle will just give you a randomly generated color and geometric pattern. Okay, so in the course that we're in here, you can see that it does look somewhat similar, but there are a lot of differences. So the handy thing, I think the thing that will people will like over time, is that a lot of this extra stuff is hidden in collapsible menus, so you still have access to everything, but it's not as cluttered. So on this version, a couple things that you're normally used to using is turn editing on button, and also this administration block. And these two elements are in one section on the new version. So if I go over here, what you're going to see is you're going to see this gear up in the upper right hand corner. And this gear you're going to see after I turn the editing on a lot of things. And the same thing happens when I turn editing on here. You do get the gears, you know, on the previous versions. You don't see them as much in this section. You just get the edit buttons. But when I come over here, if I click the gear, it's going to give me much of what was in that administrative block before. Also, the second option down here is turn editing on. So you can come here to click turn editing on. So again, edit buttons look pretty much the same. So you see the gear always was there. It's on the previous version as well. We just click the edit button. And so edit settings, it would be the same here. So edit settings, it does have our turn editing on and off there as well. It's just the handy button isn't in the upper right hand corner the way it used to be. So much of this is still here. If I come back here, I have filters, I have gradebook, backup, restore, import. Quick mail is in there as well as there's a quick mail option on the side, just like there was before. If it's not in the location that you want, so you know, previously here we have quick mail in the upper right hand corner. You can adjust that as needed if for some reason it didn't show up where you needed it. So once I have the editing on, I have that little plus sign with the arrows, so we can use that to just drag and drop and put quick mail up exactly where we want. And so this is the same as the previous one, but if there are things that are laid out somewhat differently than the way you liked it in the previous one, you can organize the sections again. And again, you know, we have upcoming events here, library resources. Some of these things are put in automatically, but if for some reason you don't want to put upcoming events prominently like that, you can delete the entire block, make it go away. You have your add a block here as well, and so that will allow you to add additional blocks in, just like it was here as well. So on the previous one, you got a drop-down list. On this one, it will just populate a pop-out window here for a minute, and it will give you a number of different options. I will show you a couple of those options in a moment just so you can, one in particular here, actually I'll just note it now, is course completion status. So I'm going to go farther into that a little bit later, but essentially what this new install allows you to do is it allows you to add a couple things here within any topic and say, I want the students to do assignment 1 and then have a check mark saying it's completed, and they can't do, you could have it so there's a restriction so they can't even click on 2 until 1 is finished, or it's just a sequential list of items that they need to complete, and that way they can see where they are on the list and you can see where they are on the list. So some projects or some courses that might become more relevant than others. So you can see these checkboxes here. Actually, it has that. So this is a activity completion option that has already been selected on this. So if I wanted to, I could go to add a block, course completion status, and oh, there we go. And it was here already, so at this point we don't have it fully set up, but we could come in and look at the course completion and see what options are in there. So there are some things that we're going to go a little bit deeper in later in additional videos, but this is just sort of an overview between the two. So again, on the new version, we have that gear up in the corner, and like I said, most of them are the same that were on the administrative block. But there is at the bottom an additional gear, and it says more. And so that takes you to one page that allows you to see everything maybe a little bit in a cleaner version, but without it taking up additional real estate on the front page. So we have, the editing options, course completion, I'll show you that, gradebook, all the things that you're pretty used to. Reports, again, we've had these activity reports from before, so you can see what things the students are accessing, what they're working on, when they're actually doing things, so you can look at those. And then again, we have our question bank. So on the previous one, at the bottom of the admin block was question bank. On this new one, you actually have to click the more gear at the bottom to get to this. Okay, so the main options that you're going to be working with are under this course administration, and go through. Now that I'm in the course, just like in the previous one, we do have our breadcrumbs. So I could go into, say, edit settings here. It'll show me that I'm in this course, and that now I'm down into edit settings on this one. It gives me the course title, and then I'm in course administration. And if I went into another one of these options, again, it's a loop back down. So I can click directly back just to that. If I want to, I can also click up here to the course title itself, and that will take me back to the front. And if I wanted to go back to the dashboard at any moment, I'm just going to click on Moodle. So sort of the same thing. And again, I could click dashboard here, or I could just click Moodle just as it was here. So dashboard, or I could have clicked this link, and that would take me back again. On the previous version, activities was on, go back here a second, was on the left-hand column. So it went people, activities, search forums, and on the new course, all of these extra blocks are always located on the right column. So they aren't shuffled between the two, because as you can see, there's a new area over here, which I think, again, will become very handy. We have a series of quick buttons that coincide with the blocks that you have in here on your course. So we are using a topic-based course. Again, and I will just go back into edit settings just to show you the comparison here. So on the previous courses, we have our general information. Also here we have on course image, so again I have my sandbox for this one, so I was able to upload an image for this one, so you can come into edit settings and add that in. And under course format is where you had always selected what type of format you want the structure of the course. Most often it was weeks or it was topics, but it was the only two options you had really were social, I think single, social, topics, and weekly. Most folks would choose topics and weekly. In this case, we have two new options, and they are collapsible topics and weeks. So I think most folks are going to be selecting this instead. Some courses that are extremely content heavy would, as you know, scroll down and down and down. So if you had stuff at the very bottom, the only way to get to it quickly, well, not even quickly, but the only way to get to it was to simply scroll down the page. So by having the collapsible weeks or topics format, it allows you to make everything else small and really just focus on one topic. And then this new feature allows you to much more quickly connect to a particular area. Now, this particular course, we have not changed the names of the topics. So in this case, it wouldn't be extremely necessarily helpful for students if they didn't remember which topic had particular information. And weeks will, again, be based off of the semester. So if this is a regular course, and it's auto-created as the batches are every semester, the course date and course start date and course end date would both correspond with the semester dates as well. So if you chose the weekly format, it would start with the first week of the semester and then continue for 15 weeks. So at the bottom then, you would just hit, actually before we do that, there is the other option that is now in our edit settings is completion tracking. So this again is what is an option for having those activities that are based off of one another, or you're trying to quickly see what is, how many elements they have worked on and how far along they are. So also, again, a reminder, this was on the old version as well, but on all of these different sections, there's a little question mark. So if you forget what completion tracking is, it gives you a little description. Some of the other ones, it will tell you a little bit more about any of these options. And completion tracking is also related to this new option, which is section progress bar. So again, it'll say display a progress bar right to section names if activity completion is activated. So we have to say yes, we want the completion tracking. We can add a little progress bar, so at the top of the topic it will show like if they have worked on it or how far along they are. And so those are the main options that have changed or might be new additions. I'm going to hit save and display. Okay, and now that we're back on the front page and we have all of these topics, since all of these topics are just titled 1, 2, 3, 4, one thing that I can do is I can use the move section tool and I can move topic 3 up to topic 1, and it actually does reshuffle and retitle everything. So if you are using the titling as it goes sequentially, it will actually change it so it doesn't suddenly get confusing and goes topic 3, 2, 1, or so on and so forth. You can make the adjustments here though, and give it a new title, and so I can adjust these, and it will still change the numbering to have everything go in the same order. So it is still doing this instead of showing topic 2, it is showing that this one was just renamed. And so if I move this down to topic 3, now topic 2 shows back up, 1984. So I would say that overall it's probably much better to just keep it all consistent or just rename everything individually. So again, it's however your course is structured. You can have them as assignments, you can have it as readings, you can have it as or the weekly options. Anything like that. It could be some that are interactive, an interactive section, so anything like assignments and forums, and then things that are just things that they are supposed to be consuming, reading, analyzing. And as you can see over here, now that I've changed this one to say 1984, so if you have a topic, a subject, you're going to be reading 1984, it's obviously much easier for a student to say, oh, that's where that information is. So this is going to be a handy go-to for the students, and we'll be able to keep things nice and clean. We did enable that collapsible topic block, and that's what happens here. It allows us to hide all of these, and they will start as collapsed. And then if I go to topic 6, actually that's a bad option because it doesn't show that. But if I click on 1984, it was collapsed a moment ago, but when I click on 1984, it automatically takes me directly to it in the view, and then it opens it up so I can see everything that's within it. So I can, go through that. Topic 5 doesn't actually have anything in it, but topic 1, so I can, go through here and make some adjustments. Let's go. Okay, so here under topic 2, you can see those check boxes, and let's just go in here and click edit. We're going to edit settings on this particular one for an assignment. So what I have under assignment that is different is I have 2 different options here towards the bottom. I have activity completion. Now in this particular one it says that someone has already worked on one of these, so we can't really make adjustments on the completion strategy. But it does allow me to say, do we have activity completion enabled? Yes, we do. A student must view this activity to complete it. So you can make your adjustments. Are they just looking at it? So is it just they're supposed to read an article or some sort of, a PDF or something that you've uploaded? So although you can't prove that they read it, you can make it just so that they have to at least click on it to show that they engaged with, what the content is that you've uploaded. You can say that a student must receive a grade to complete this activity. So in that case, it's most likely something like an assignment or a small quiz or something. Some of, a small quiz could be auto-graded by just having it multiple choice or some sort of true-false questions. Other things might be an assignment that it's a paper, and then it would be a delayed grading option. And the other option is to simply say a student must submit to this activity to complete it. And again, that would be, you just want, even if you're going to give the students a grade, for an assignment, the key to the activity completion is just saying, did you upload something or didn't you? You can give timing that you expect it to be completed by that is not the same as the actual due date. They could be 2 different dates. This is actually saying when something is due. It should most likely align with it, but there could be, I guess, a reason why you would have it as 2 different times. The other option that you can select is to have a restriction, meaning that you could actually hide the next option in line, the next assignment, the next reading, something along those lines. So that wouldn't even show up until they have clicked something. So in the case of it being an assignment, you could have it so that they could be required to upload an assignment, and as soon as they upload the assignment, it unlocks the next one in line. So activity completion, I could say a student must match the following, and activity completion. So I'm going to say they need to do, now this is backwards because I want assignment 1, but it would likely be they need to complete assignment 1, and it needs to be marked as completed before assignment 2 would show up for them. So you don't, I would say that a majority of folks probably wouldn't need this level of restriction, but if you really want to ensure that students aren't working ahead, or that they did read something before they continued on to the quiz, or some sort of writing assignment based on a reading, those are some things that you could use. So I'm going to do save and return to course. Okay. And if I come back up here and let's see if I go into this one. Okay, I just turned off my editing, and when I turn that off, that's when you can start to see the progress bar. So on this one I have 2 assignments, and I can see that 1 had been submitted and 1 hadn't. You can also come in and you can always switch your role to the view of a student, and just to make sure that everything looks the way it should. So in this case they would actually even see that there's a blue check mark in the assignment. In this case I have it so that I could manually just check it. And so this is, a student could do that, but you could also have it so it's based off of something that they can't simply select. So I can jump back in here and I can return to my normal role. And again, if I am in my editing options, turn editing on, that completion bar does disappear. You can still see that there is, you can at least see with the checkboxes that activity completion is set up. And the last thing that I'll show that might be a slightly improved version functionality here within the courses. Upcoming events is related to the calendar. There is a calendar view that could be enabled on the original Moodle as well as the new one. So this corresponds with any sort of topic or any sort of assignment or quiz. So in this case, I have it that the midterm opens on June 7th, closes on June 10th. So I could click directly on those, and that would take me directly to a little bit of a larger bit of information, or I could go directly to the activity itself. So that's not going to the calendar, but the actual assignment. I can click on the date, and then it would show me this. So this is what it looks like on the original. So it does give me this view on the side, and it does give me color blocks that say that there's something going on the 10th. Of course, there we go. So it does give me a quick little overview. The difference is that on here it would only give me a day view, and on the new version I still do have upcoming events. It would do the same thing. I could click on assignment. It does say what the information is, but if I go to the calendar here, it looks similar, and it does give me the same blocks here, so it'll show me, I can quickly see, okay, I've got a couple things coming up in mid-June. Over here though, it shows them in events view, so it does give me a bit more information, so I know that assignment 1 is due, assignment 2, so on and so forth down the road. I can also just look at the overview of the whole month. So this will, even though it won't give me the full description in this view, it will, say assignment 1 is due, assignment 2. So it's just going off of whatever the actual title is. So again, this might be helpful when you're thinking about what you're going to title things. Do they remember what assignment 14 was? So it might be instead, paper, related to, certain readings, things like that. So having some of that be a bit more descriptive can be very helpful when the students are just looking at this view and trying to get an idea of when something is happening sequentially in their course. So that is the quick overview of many of the new features, and also where to find many of the old features that you might have lost track of with the new upgrade.